I came across this place today. It was just in my feed, and after, you know, obviously there's a hangout well I've had with James, and I put out that place in Plymouth, and then you look at this place. This place is just, well, the original castle was a beauty, like a bit different to the star forts and everything. And then I suppose what they're telling us is that this bit and this bit is the Victorian wing of this castle, and this is a fortified building now, belongs to British Heritage, of course. But I picked a little bit from this channel, a little bit from this channel, but again, I find it quite amazing that even Henry VIII could build this beautiful castle. And I noticed in this video there's a lot of red bicker in there. Look at that. Even if this is the Victorian time, right? Victorian time that they did this, like the history that they're explaining. Look at it all. Look what they managed to build in the Victorian times. But we know the arches are older. We know that with spit forts and everything else, that we're probably going back to the 1700s. So why not tell us the truth? And in a way, there's those, I don't know, there's, look at this. Why would they put brick in there? It's part of the, look at that, look how many layers there is. And then some kind of concrete on top in the Victorian times. Wow. I don't think we ever really know the truth about anything, do we? How really old is this? Is this Roman still, this part, but has a lot of brick in it, doesn't it? And by the time these people get here, what they've done is they've reinforced out the front here so they can go behind. They've made this so that this is dry in there so they can go in and mend this. But listen to what these blokes say.
Pretty bad collapse. Well, I've come around here just to the west of the collapse now, and the bad news is that it's very badly undermined right the way along here underneath the parts of this Victorian fort which are still standing. It's only a matter of time before this collapses. I mean, I can see about a metre at least in under the foundations. Going to need some really serious emergency shoring up.
So this is James, and this is new. Suddenly the view to Hurst Castle not quite so good from the boats because of all those rocks.
This is the breakwater that they're building, and I guess they'll backfill behind that and try and replace the foundation that had all disappeared over the years. Shame they didn't do it earlier, eh?
Well, it certainly would have saved them an awful lot of money, wouldn't it, if they'd have just dumped the bricks in, or the rocks in, to create that barrier, and then not have to spend the millions you imagine is going to be needed to be spent to put Hurst Castle back together again.
There's an awful lot of polyfiller needed there.
Wow. This is inside that place. Look at that. I still think it was a nice looking castle. Maybe even, I don't know, a bit more Middle Eastern looking. There you go, look at that. Anyway, we're going on to the last part of the video. Please sub to all these channels, or even go and just watch their videos. I was just very interested in this place because it starts out as this and then it turns into this in the 1800s, so they're saying. Anyway, what's everybody's thoughts? Anyway, there's something else with this castle. It wasn't very big. You know, I've got the same thing with Donington Castle, the one in Newbury, how small it is. You know, it's only like, it's called a castle. Well, now it's called a fortified building. It's different than a castle, but it's called Donington Castle. The castle up the road from me, hang on a second, I'll show you. Here it is, with it also has a bit of red brick that's patched it up at some point. Why red brick? You need stone on here, but look, if you were standing in there, you would see how small this is, right? Size of a church. Even it's just small. Yeah, the turret's quite big, I suppose, but it's quite small. I suppose the wall went round, so again, wow, very high wall, but you know, the actual castle is not very big. So it's the same with this place. This place was not very big, and its shape there, the small castle that it was. But if you believe this, quite beautiful. Anyway, let's move on to the rest of the video and then leave your comments.
Hurst Castle was built between 1541 and 1544 by Henry VIII as part of a chain of artillery fortresses protecting key ports and landing places around southern England. The castle guarded the Needles Passage leading to the Solent.
You can't see how magnificent this place was and what a really weird shape that it was built in. That's a little bit different than the Star Forts and all the other places that we've seen, isn't it? Anyway, it's a little bit different, don't you think?
It was greatly modernised in the 19th century when it formed a key fortress protecting one of the world's most heavily defended areas.
Please go over to his channel and watch the whole thing. He does a virtual tour around this. Quite like his music too. But he's showing some amazing pictures, and what it looks like today isn't really what it looked like before, is it? And that's quite, I know it's drawings, but wow.
From England's United Catholic neighbours, forced the building of a series of permanent artillery defences to protect important sites. After completion in 1544, fear of invasion had largely subsided, but the castle was armed with about 20 guns, and for the rest of the 16th century, life was uneventful.
Same old story, isn't it, really, where they spend a lot of money and then it isn't really used for what they made it for. Yeah, let's put thousands or millions of pounds into that, and no, we just don't use it, we don't need it, just leave it there.
The castle remained little changed from 1544 until the outbreak of war with France in 1793. At the outbreak of war in 1793, Britain's coastal fortresses saw rapid strengthening. The castle was rearmed and enlarged, but Hurst guns never saw action. and in 1809 it was turned into a temporary military hospital.
I know this one is a fort or a castle that's been turned into a fort, but everything Dark Dreams is talking about, well, it's Dark Dreams, isn't it? This is all happening today. This is why we're finding all these abandoned hospitals and everything. Oh, let's put millions of pounds in, but we never really used it. No, it was made as a fort, but it turns into a hospital. I'm not having a go at the person that is reading this out. He's telling us what they're saying. The history is, I just find it incredible that you can spend all this money. We're talking of a few hundred years ago here. It's the same thing happening then as now. I don't think there's any hope for us, is there?
In the early 1850s, further fear of France's intentions meant that Hurst was called on again. It was further fortified with extra arms and defences, but works had hardly finished before technical advances in weaponry meant that improvements were obsolete. In 1859, a Royal Commission realised the coastal defences across the south needed strengthening. Hurst was enlarged to something what we see today.
Wow. So after they said that it was redundant, it wasn't good enough for what they wanted, it was, basically this guy says they realised that they had to keep the baddies away further out at sea, not have them on your doorstep and you're firing out of these windows at them. They're right on top of your land then. But after saying that it was obsolete, then they made it even bigger and put even more money into it. What is going on?
The importance of Hurst's position saw extra rearmament to protect the western entrance to the Solent. Hurst remained in service until 1956, in which time it came into the care of the Ministry of Works, the predecessor of English Heritage.
Wow, when we get to see the inside, it looks a bit more, those walls are actually quite high, aren't they? And it looks a little bit more magnificent when you're inside it than what it looks like from the outside. But it's got the arches in it, and it probably goes down just like the other places. They're only showing you a little bit of it, aren't they? What they want you to see, rather than how far it goes down in the ground. And it's near water again. Me and James were talking about that last night. Anyway, thank you very much to this channel. Hope they don't mind. I just find it all crazy. It has a lot of brick in it, doesn't it? Had all this time and people to mend all this stuff with the brick. Wow, and even build it and make it bigger. All these magnificent buildings. How did they do it hundreds of years ago?